It begins quietly, almost unnoticed. You're only 6 years old, huddled by the doorframe, watching your parents fall apart piece by piece. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's explosive rage. Maybe it's just the cold void of an adult who can no longer show up. In that moment, something primal clicks in your young mind. If I don't hold everything together, there'll be nothing left. This is how a child disappears, not literally, but spiritually. They learn to smile more, cry less. They learn to read the room before speaking. They become the family's emotional thermostat. They turn into miniature adults while their minds are still far too tender, and the world pats them on the back with praise. You're so mature, you're so reliable, you're so resilient, but no one stops to ask, what's the cost? This is the invisible pain of children who grow up too fast. Today, we'll dive deep into the psychology of that child, because the consequences don't fade with time. They shape you, follow you into relationships, careers, and the way you see your own worth. If you don't understand what happened, you'll spend your entire adult life repeating survival patterns that once saved you but are now quietly eroding you. Let's start with what really happens in development. When children are forced to prop up adults' emotions instead of being propped up, psychologists call it role reversal. That's when the child becomes the caregiver, the mediator, the counselor, the protector. This isn't just unhealthy, it rewires the brain. Because when a child is constantly responsible for regulating emotions, their own or others, it creates a state called hypervigilance. You're always scanning for danger. You walk on eggshells. You learn that love is a transaction. You bring peace, maybe they'll give safety. You learn that your needs are a threat, while theirs are urgent. So you erase yourself, not physically, but emotionally. Instead, a version of you grows, one that performs perfectly. You become the good kid, the quiet achiever, the therapist friend, the one who never asks for anything. And you wear that mask so convincingly that even you forget it's fake. But deep down, something aches, something bleeds for the child inside that you buried but didn't kill. It's still there, screaming in silence. Why didn't anyone protect me? As you grow up, the symptoms get more complex. You might become hyper-independent. You reject help, push people away, or never feel truly safe in love. You might freeze in moments of joy because happiness feels foreign, undeserved, even dangerous. You might be unable to rest because productivity is the only way you've ever felt valuable. And worst of all, you might not realize you're still stuck in survival mode. Because when dysfunction is normalized early, your nervous system accepts chaos as baseline. Silence feels wrong. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels like a debt you have to pay. This is the psychology of a child forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness. It's complex trauma that reshapes how you see the world. And more importantly, how you see yourself. Now you might wonder, why would a child willingly take on that role? Because children will do anything to maintain attachment, even abandon themselves. That choice is never conscious. It's biological instinct. In the absence of safety, the child sacrifices authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. That's instinct. But the tragedy is this. What once saved you now imprisons you. So many of us walk around as high-functioning adults with deeply abandoned inner children pulling the strings. We achieve greatness to earn love. We stay silent to avoid abandonment. We care for everyone, but secretly hope someone asks if we're okay. And that fantasy that someone will see you're not as strong as you pretend. That maybe, just maybe, you'll be allowed to fall apart and be held. That's the unmet need. Not of the adult ego, but of the child who never got to be a child. The first step to healing isn't fixing, it's witnessing. Because until you acknowledge what happened, you'll keep lying to yourself with thoughts like, it wasn't that bad. Others had it worse. I'm fine. But fine is just another mask. And deep down, you know it. So what happens to that child when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in quiet rooms. They become lovers who can't trust tenderness. They become givers who can't receive. They become the type who apologizes for crying, flinches at compliments, and mistakes burnout for success. This is the price of growing up too early. Because if childhood trained you to be strong at the cost of softness, silent instead of honest, fixing others while ignoring your own cracks. What kind of adulthood do you inherit? You inherit a life where you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone to finally let you break. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save the child you buried. You have to go back and take its hand. You have to say what no one ever said. You didn't deserve that. You were just a kid. You get to rest now. This is the beginning of shadow work. Not fixing, not performing, not dodging pain with fake positivity, but returning to the abandoned parts of yourself and saying, I see you now, I hear you, and I'm not leaving. That's the rebuilding process. And it's brutal because it requires you to feel the grief you never had time to feel. It requires you to sit with the anger, the sadness, the unmet needs. Cry for the birthdays no one showed up to. Mourn the innocence you lost, protecting those who should have protected you. But that grief isn't weakness. It's proof you're healing, because what was frozen is finally thawing. Now, let's talk about how this survival pattern shows up in adulthood. Subtle, tragic, and often invisible. You might become the therapist in every friendship, but never let anyone truly see you. You might be praised for independence when deep down you're terrified of being a burden. You might be in relationships where you overfunction, always fixing, managing, over-explaining, and wonder why you're resentful. You might struggle with boundaries because saying no still feels like betrayal. These aren't personality traits, they're coping strategies, learned, conditioned. And the good news is, they can be unlearned, but only when you stop worshiping your strength and start honoring your wounds. One of the most powerful things you can do is ask your inner child, what did you need back then that you never got? You might hear answers like,